Oops, hello there. I don't know if you heard any of that, by the way, because I didn't know if I added myself into the stream. So I'll do it again. Basically, just to welcome you along, say hi, good morning. It says Chuck, pleasure to see you, sir. We're going to get into all sorts of stuff today. It's the last day of Comic-Con at Home, the virtual convention for San Diego Comic-Con 2020. Again, if these are slightly upsetting you when it comes to when these are going live, it's because we're going live an hour before the doors technically open for the con. You've got all the panels that are taking place from 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. So it's pointless me talking when you could be off watching panels. Considering the panels that are on today, there are a couple of impressive ones, so we'll get into those. But it's a pleasure to have you joining us. We will dive into this. Already I've been having one or two messages and people reaching out and finding out what I've been thinking of the virtual con and the content in particular. Let's just bring that down a little bit. There we go. We'll get into all of that, but we also want to know what your thoughts have been, what your own opinion and take of Comic-Con. Virtual con. Oh my word! I've just suddenly realised why that is so particularly sharp. You know what? I should stick with that camera because it's not the worst camera in the world on this laptop. But this is the one I'm going for. So okay, this is the standard one that I use. So there we go. Right. As always, it's all about you. It's about your take and your thoughts on the presentations, what we've seen. Please do jump in on the chat. Have you been doing your best to make this feel like a proper con? Like this is a proper San Diego Comic-Con? I know that San Diego Comic-Con International themselves they've been doing everything they can in a desperate hope that they can fill that gap and apply the safety badge. I have also soon realised this is running off the house Wi-Fi. So tell me if the signal's good. Or the signal's not all right. If not, I'll quickly sort that out. I'm rushing around on this one. I don't know why. I thought I had plenty of time, but there we go. I think also because I've just been typing up the panel review of Bill and Ted Face the Music, which was yesterday. That was fun. That was a hell of a presentation, and easily the slickest of the panels that we've seen so far. To be fair. I'm going to be covering that and my thoughts across the board, pros and cons, on tomorrow's show, on our wrap-up show, which is going to be back to our normal time, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. So do join us for that. I'm going to be a little bit more, what's the word? Not pragmatic. I'm just going to take it a little bit more on a level playing field. What things they could have done to improve this particular aspect of it. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a one-off, you'd hope. And I totally understand that. Leanne D saying, morning, slow to get here, watching John Lewis' final crossing of Pettus Bridge. Fair enough. And afternoon, folks, caught the Bill and Ted panel yesterday. It was excellent. Dude, yeah, I mean, let's get into it. At the end of the day, the one thing that this could have shown, and the showcase is that if you have a very enthusiastic marketing department with a very well-equipped editing suite, even if it's on his own laptop and an intern's just gone home with the Zoom call footage and just plonked himself down, yeah, it's a case of what you can do. And it looked amazing. It was so impressive. And for me, it not only was the slickest and most visually appealing of the panels so far, but it also showcased what you can do if you don't just hit record on a Zoom call, put the bumper, the ident, top and bottom of the panel, and just upload it. I mean, let's have a look. Leanne D, hello Aaron. Yeah, I mean, everyone's kind of like jumping in and speaking, saying hi on the chat. And indeed, Toby is saying, I don't want to sound like a downer, but I hope this con is a one-off. I don't think I can do this again. Yeah, of course, we want to be back in San Diego. We want to be enjoying and catching up with friends. It's whether this was enough of a plaster on the wound to keep us going. That's the thing. That's what we've got to kind of address. And like I say, I am going to get into niggles that I have, and I'm going to really kind of tear it apart tomorrow. But I'm also going to look at the pros, because I mean, what we experienced and what we saw as part of yesterday's content, and indeed the content we've seen so far, it's been interesting, it's been exciting. There's been some real in-depth panels. It's been, I mean, I could have done with the first 5 minutes of people just saying, oh well, we're not in San Diego, and we're doing this virtual con, and don't we hate missing each other. Let's dive into it. There was one panel in particular, while there was a very important topic, and this is on Friday's listings, one panel where the very important topic of the issues that America has in terms of race, in terms of police brutality, in terms of everything beyond COVID, basically, of all the stresses that are currently being placed on the American people at the moment. There was, of a 45 to 50 minute panel, 15 to 16 minutes addressing that. I think there should have been a little bit more tight editing, or there should have been some agreed time. If the cast and showrunner wanted to talk about that, that's what other podcasts are for. We wanted to know about the shows. That's the idea. So, I mean, let's go through a couple of the comments. Veronica, I like each person lit up when they were speaking. You could see who was speaking when they didn't give them the entire screen. They did this with a couple. There was one with the boys, was a nice panel. That was nicely done. I also want to know what their setup was, considering that everyone was looking at camera. Everyone was well lit. Everyone was well framed. The sound was decent. It was not just prepared by a Zoom call. That was something else. They did something else with that panel. I quite liked it. And yeah, the panel that they did for Bill and Ted, admittedly, all of that footage did come from the Zoom call, but someone in an editing booth went in and cropped and got everything nicely lined up. They smart upscaled the video. They, like Veronica says, they isolated the video of specific people. I think it worked a lot better, and it's all down to presentation. And at the end of the day, if this is your marketplace, if this is your voice out into the world, there has to be a little bit more. It can't just be a Zoom call recorded. I mean, the graphics I'm doing here, I mean, this is simple stuff, and it's easily done. It's done using the platform called StreamYard, and the DC at Home panels used this platform so they could move around and do graphics with it, and you can do funky little video intros and drops and all that kind of thing. And it's easy enough to do. There were a couple of panels. Okay, I'm getting into the breaking it down bit, and I'll do that tomorrow. Let's break it down tomorrow. But let's actually have a look at what we all enjoyed yesterday. Hello there, Clydine. Listen, it's been a pleasure. Clydine, it's great to have joining us because she's very interested, as you can imagine, to find out how the reception has been. She's the person that runs the Artist Alley at San Diego Comic-Con, so she's invested in finding out how this show has done in an attempt to fill the stop gaps between now and next year. Let's have a look at a couple more comments. We've got, I think it adds the possibility for a digital panel for package for panels only as an add-on, or totally separate for regular badges. It's something that you could drop in. You could create from the content, and I think also if you have something prepared in a edit suite somewhere, you could take the panel, drop it in, chop it, get some of the extraneous points out, take it down to about 30 minutes. You could have that panel up on YouTube for those people that weren't in the room within half an hour to an hour, if that. That, I think, is of interest. I think it could be moved. It gives us an idea of what we could see digitally moving forward, even if the con returns, or when the con returns next year, let's move on. Toby says, Kristen says hi. Kristen, it's been hello there. How are you? I know that I was hoping that you guys were going to be able to get down to the convention centre, but we would have loved to have seen the area. I'm also going to very quickly address that as well, because we have had somebody, a local, who's reasonably well connected. If you've I can't quite remember her name today. I'm sure that it'll come back to me. Just a bit of a mind fart. It's not a slight on her, but she's somebody who is a massive Comic-Con fan. She has contacts within CCI in that she has an interview, a live stream interview with David Glanzer, which I've been trying to get all the way up to the lead up of Comic-Con. Had an interview with him. Some pretty good questions in there, and very much talking about the future of the convention moving forward in terms of a digital element. But also, she's the person that is behind the Comic-Con shrine that is currently outside the Tin Fish in downtown. Now, I totally understand the local businesses and local population wanting to celebrate Comic-Con and explain their love and hope that it returns soon. The only downside for me is calling it a shrine. There are people that have died. There are people that will die. There are people that have permanent lung and breathing difficulties. This is something else which I don't think a shrine, a memorial, not even a memorial, just a celebration, the Comic-Con celebration. They'd have just renamed it and reframed it. Why put flowers down? I don't get it. I don't get it. I think it's disrespectful to a lot of people who have lost lives and family members, friends. I don't like the metrics of it. I mean, I totally get it as a celebration. Let's celebrate, by all means. Let's put bags down. Let's put old souvenir books down. Let's do artwork and sketch that up. Flowers, nobody's died. It was a convention that was cancelled. Calm the hell down. That was me. That's my thoughts. Other comments. The Kevin Smith panel. Yeah, halfway through the Kevin Smith panel. Hope they release a not suitable for work version. The beeping is getting silly. The tweet I put out last night was it felt very much like it started to sound like the heart monitor that Kevin was wearing 2 years ago when he had his heart attack. We could do with a unedited version. At the end of the day, it says on the back of the name tags, there's a name tag, it says on it, please be aware that many members of your audience may be under 18 years of age. They want to make it an all ages event. Of course they do. But you hire Kevin Smith, you know what you're getting in for. So, you know what I mean? You get what you pay for. So, the boys panel was excellent. The Kevin Smith panel was excellent. The Bill and Ted excellent. Even the smaller panels, there, like I say, a couple of them were a little bit messy. There were a couple that they could have, the production could have been a little bit slicker, but that's not down to Comic-Con. At the end of the day, they just took the footage, top and tailed it, uploaded it. Again, I'm going to break all of this down tomorrow because I have thoughts on how the videos have been presented, how the videos have been uploaded, and also the fact that we haven't had comments. That and discourse, that feels a little bit like gatekeeping. We'll get into that tomorrow. Clydine, Constantine with Keanu Reeves was awesome. Again, excellent panel, but then again, that's also down to Keanu Reeves, who really needs to update his Wi-Fi, his camera setup. But that's the reason. That's why he's Keanu Reeves. It was just melting off the screen. Yeah, I thought it was an excellent panel. Again, we had just 3 people on screen. We could have done with some more bodies, but that's just nitpicking. It was a great celebration of a film, and I think it acknowledged the fact that even after all this time and after all of the slating that the film got, one on its release, that it wasn't John Constantine, and it's not. Let's be fair, it's not John Constantine. That the people involved in it were happy and proud with the project, and I think that's the key to it. If you are happy and proud with the project, what else can you really do? It's going to shine through. I mean, the panel for me, which was also interesting, was the David Goyer panel, which was script writing. Yeah, I think the presentations yesterday were very, very impressive. I'm just going to try and just bring up a couple of the, because I do have a website, you know, and if I just type in Comic-Con schedules into the search, it's got all of them listed, and it's actually a little bit easier to maneuver around than the actual Comic-Con site. What can I say? Yeah, it was excellent. The Kevin Smith panel was cool. Again, I feel it could have been a live stream. We could have had some more interactions with fans, but then again, it's like he said, it's just easier for him. It was like the other panel was Robert Kirkman, and he turned around and said, this is actually going to be a lot slicker than my usual presentation, because usually I don't prepare. I just come out with a microphone and I bodge some slides up on screen which never come up because they don't show up. They had graphics up on screen, he had a script he could work through, he had questions he can get on. I thought it was cool. People are jumping in with their particular highlights. Leanne D, What We Do in the Shadows, getting a season 3. That was a good panel. That was pretty impressive. Yeah, I quite liked that. Andrew Dixon, I don't think it's down to the Wi-Fi, it's all down to cameras. I think a lot of them are doing with laptop cameras. Yeah, I mean, this is with a HP dedicated webcam, and the picture's nice and clean on it, I think. If you want to see the perfect way to spend time, money and effort on a live streaming setup, go onto YouTube. You can do it now very quickly before all the panels for today start, and search for Justice Con, which also ran yesterday. It was an event put together definitely by the guys, or the guys and girls from the Snyder Cutters. It was a convention for that bunch. So there you go. And I definitely say that bunch because I personally think it was a bit militant of them to bully a studio into doing what they've done. But anyway, one of their big supporters is, of course, Zack Snyder. And Zack showed up on the last panel of the day yesterday. It was just before the Kevin Smith panel during time. And his camera and sound setup is staggering. It's broadcast quality. It was very, very impressive indeed. Go and check it out. If anything, because you also see a clip for the new Snyder cut of Justice League. So there we go. Scott Angus, I found the panels being recorded had more content than when SDCC. Yeah, I can appreciate that because they've got more time to think about their content. You're not messing around with bringing them up on stage. You had a little bit of time delay on that. You had a very similar setup. I don't know. There's some to and fro there. I get what you're saying because there's more time to prepare. But at the end of the day, if you watch, say, a Chris Hardwick panel or a panel which has clearly been rehearsed, one where there's some definite time determined for certain subjects. At the end of the day, it's all down to preparation. And that you can find at every convention and every Comic-Con panel, pre-recorded or not. If there's a bit of preparation there, admittedly, it's the one thing that I don't do at my panels. I want it to be more of a conversation, but at least you have some idea of where the conversation is going to go. That's where the pre-recorded element goes. I mean, to be fair, I think the best ones that we've seen so far, the ones that were recorded which lasted an hour and 20, hour and 30, and they trimmed down the detritus and made it very efficient. But there we go. You could tell the ones with 4K setup, absolutely. Scott Angus, I would like to see live for some Q&A. I posted something today about a couple of hours ago, which I still agree with. Number one, I think we should have had a Supernatural panel. We should have had a John Barrowman panel. These are mainstays of Comic-Con. But I think, or I believe, that around 5 p.m. PT, Pacific time, today there should be a live stream, and I'm willing to host it. If they want to get in contact within net between now and then, they've got 7 hours. A live stream between Robin Dolan, who is the current president of Comic-Con International, and David Glanzer as a Q&A, a talkback panel. Because if there's any convention, if there's any San Diego Comic-Con that needs this sense of to and fro with the convention, we have not had it this time round. There's not been the dialogue this time round, and that's missing. Even if it's just them on stage going through tweets and talking about the reaction this time round, there should be a talkback panel somewhere down the line. Okay. Karma Savage, the production of some panels were pretty good. Adding footage and video helps the panel more entertaining. Also just keeps things visually stimulating. There's 2 elements of the whole thing. I'm breaking it down again. I'm doing what I was going to do tomorrow. Is the Zoom panels where it's just the Zoom setup recorded and no cutting away, no moving around, no zooming in. So everything is very static, and that can really hurt your eyes after a while. I ended up actually putting the panels on in the background and doing other things on the computer, just listening to them. So yeah, I think if you're going to see something, if you're going to see faces and content, let's have something a little bit more visually stimulating. So there we go. Leandy, I still have some panels to catch up on. Same here. And that's a great thing about them being available for some time now. Let's keep them up for a fair while. I mean, from all I understand, certainly the smaller panels, they're going to be up in perpetuity by all accounts. But the likes of the Bill and Ted one, the Star Trek Universe panel, some of the slightly bigger efforts, I don't know if they're going to stay up. But for now, let's enjoy them while we've got them. And yeah, there's plenty of panels to go. Scott Angus, not the same energy for sure, but I took more away. Absolutely. Veronica's doubling up on that one. I think the lack of Q&A give them incentive to add more content. Absolutely. Andrew Dixon, it did look like SDCC edited down to 43 minutes each. No, I think everyone had a time limit. They were told to keep it under an hour. I mean, we had a Marc Vanier panel, which was a tribute to mind fart now, not Denny O'Neil. There was the Denny O'Neil, which was yesterday. Jack Kirby. It was a Jack Kirby tribute, the annual Jack Kirby tribute panel. Marc Vanier is a fantastic comics historian. He knows his stuff. He has a beautiful way of putting things, and he really does know how to get as much information out as possible, and loves the sound of his own voice. That went on, and it went on for an hour and 20. At the end of the day, you can have slightly longer panels, but I think the idea is to keep it under those hour blocks. Some were 30 minutes. The New Mutants one was 30 minutes long. I didn't see much in the way of editing, and if the editing happened, it happened on the content provider's side, not from CCI. I don't think CCI wanted to comment, so they just did it and provide. I mean, there was a couple of panels yesterday where people were just blathering over trying to get the Zoom window working, and how do I get the graphics right, and how do I get this screen shared over it? And it went on for about 3-4 minutes, and it was painful. But it wasn't edited. It was put up and presented as a panel would be. You know what I mean? There was no editorial from CCI side. I think that's okay. That's fine. But then it's down to the people who are creating that content to be a little bit slicker. There we go. Into the Blue Mister. Remind us again how long I talked to Bill Sienkiewicz for. Correct. Trimming that down to an hour, nigh on impossible. You would never be able to do it. But if you have a Comic-Con panel, it's dedicated to time. If we are doing this like CCI want us to do it, which is treat this like the convention is happening for real in the convention center, then time and presentation, I think, is a key. But there we go. Let's have a look at this. New Mutants around 30. And oh yeah, it went on for an hour and 20 minutes. It had Alex Ross. Alex Ross and I, you know about the relationship between me and Alex Ross. I'm a fan. He's not too keen on a couple of criticisms I've made. I'm a fan, and I wanted to hear him talk, and he didn't talk enough as a guest of Marc Evaniers. But there we go. Let's have a look at this. What else? Solicitor Smeg. I also don't see the reason in pulling them down. It literally does no good. Yeah, I agree. I think they would be a continuous advert for the convention moving forward. Leanne Taylor said she was glad the awkward Q&A wasn't there, but she's a teenager and finds some of the questions people ask her painful. Yeah, I get it, but that's down to editorial. That you can do something about that. You can kind of talk. You can on an online Q&A. You would then have a moderator to control the flow of questions, which all panels should have a good moderator to do that. Yeah, there we go. Helen Moore saying hello. Helen, it's a pleasure to have you joining us, and Andrew English is saying hello as well. So there we go. That's my thoughts. I'm going to break it down completely tomorrow once we've got the whole thing out of the way, and once I've had a proper think about what we've done, because I do have thoughts as well, not just on the panel content, but also some of the extraneous stuff. Helen Moore saying it's my first chat. It's a pleasure to have you joining us. Thank you. I was actively told not to produce anything that would overlap with CCI. We had the unofficial blog. They did their affair. It only lasted a brief time. It wasn't particularly long, but it did cut over the Comic-Con time. But it was worth watching, if anything, because there were some moments in it as well, which also kind of fed over the top of what would be slightly quieter hours in the programming at CCI. So it kind of worked nicely. But there we go. It was great to see some of the faces on there. Toddland was on there, which was great. Patrick Ballesteros was on, of course. Zachary Levi started things off, and you also had some great guests on there. If you do get the chance to check it out, it's well worth it. If anything, because Todd did go down to the convention centre. He held his section outside of Hall H, and it was great to see the building. So there you go. Toby, this is the kind of thing. I mean, we need to see the building, man. We need to feel that building. Right. Okay. For example, something I'm going to be talking about tomorrow: how the trade floor went, the releasing of exclusives, the selling of people's wares. I would like to know how the exhibition floor went. Agreed. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. Bit more examination, and I'm going to do a bit more searching tomorrow about what actually happened. Leanne D, Stumptown had a Q&A. I haven't seen the Stumptown panel. I mean, I know that the Robert Kirkman had a Q&A. He obviously reached out to his fans, and it's curious to see, how it worked. I've yet to see the Stumptown panel, so it's another one I've got to catch up on at some point today. Solicitor Smeg, I'm not sure a live Q&A would work. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people spamming the chat's Twitter with their questions. We would probably become distracting. Again, this is down to someone being a little bit more of a moderator and controlling and just keeping a handle on things. It can be done. It can be. I mean, we self-moderate this chat on this show ourselves. Everyone jumps in and keeps an eye on things. It's all kind of, we all look after ourselves as a community. So I think a good moderator or a group of moderators can keep an eye on the good things. Toby is saying Kristen is letting me go down just for that. Well, let me know, message me, and we'll do a bit of see if I can do a live stream. I think you can now actually do this. You can do StreamYard from your phone and creating a full stream as well. So I might, let me know, message me. I think it'd be rather cool. Okay. Let's have a quick glance then through the rest of what happened yesterday, and certainly the ones that caught my attention. The Warner Archive Secret Origins of Saturday Morning Cartoons was a fun panel. That was cool. I've yet to catch up on the official Dune publishing panel, but not so much in terms of I'm getting messaged. Evanier. Okay, sorry, I thought it was I do apologise. I'm getting corrected, and quite right too. Ivania, there you go. This is why he and I never, he doesn't come on this show. See, how to make friends and influence people. Say their names wrong. Adapting comics to the screen was an excellent Q&A. Like I say, he had a lot of stuff to say, and a good moderator, good questions, good solid setup. Chuck, we're going to get into what you just brought up in a second. I've yet to see the Jim Lee's Artist Edition Spotlight. If anything, because I'm excited for the book. I know IDW are planning to do with that, but I understand Jim Lee showed up to do a bit of a talk about that book and about the things that were put on. But like I say, I mean, the amount of content is just incredible. And yes, the fact that we'll be able to go back and check all these out. We had the comment yesterday about views and about how perhaps the numbers aren't spectacular, but this is a rolling, ongoing thing. So like I said yesterday, we talked about people who you sometimes meet at Comic-Con that don't even know that the content is happening upstairs. The panel rooms are there. It's a case of educating people that this stuff is presented at Comic-Con, and the more the merrier. I mean, like I say, the great thing about the content that we've seen is the fact that it's of such a breadth and such a depth as well. That's the strength. That's the reason why I go to the panels. It's the reason why I love this stuff. So it's the reason why I have been focusing on it. The unofficial blog focused on creators and Artist Alley, quite right too. They are deserving their time in the sun, but I want to talk about this because people have put time and effort into these panels. Right, let's go into some suggestions of what you can check out today. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, very quickly with Chuck, this is something I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. The elephant in the room regarding the sales floor and Artist Alley is that many people are profoundly broke right now. That's the other side of the coin as well. But the creators are as well. They needed a spotlight, and they needed it ease of use. I also think they needed to stagger what they were doing. The fact that we had all of that attention thrown on the exclusives on Thursday morning, I felt hurt the exhibition floor. I think they should have staggered it and made a weekend of it. The fact that the chatter about the creators has kind of died down at this point, when at this point during the actual convention, this is when the chatter will be high, because it's the Sunday, it's the days of deals, it's getting that last minute bargain. Hopefully there's going to be more of that. It needs more. At the end of the day, it's a one-off, and they've done what they can. Yeah, it's it's very difficult to learn from something when it's literally the first time you're doing it. Totally get it. Totally get it. Okay, panel highlights for myself. Then for today, it starts in just under half an hour's time. 10 a.m. Celebrating 80 years of Will Eisner's Spirit. Anything with the words Will Eisner in it, I'm there. I'm going to be talking tomorrow about my thoughts on the Eisner Awards, but I think I pretty much talked about it yesterday. That anything with Will Eisner, anything celebrating his work, I'm absolutely there. Hoops is a show which has got my attention. If you are more towards your television and you're interested in that regard, this looks like a nice way to get into your day. If you're into comics, into your television, there's plenty of stuff throughout the course of the day. It's certainly not as strong as yesterday or Friday, but that's your Sunday. I mean, at Comic-Con, it's nothing new. Possibly could have done with something with a little bit more eked into your Sunday. The Stumptown would have been nice, perhaps. What we do in the shadows could have been good today, just to keep the excitement going. So there we go. Right, Boom Studios, discover yours. Boom are a publisher on the rise. They are very much of the traditional distribution method, so they're relying on diamonds to get their books out into the stores. They are not reinventing the wheel as such, but they are certainly telling great stories and doing so with some incredible creators. So well worth checking out the Boom Studios panel. Again, with the Hoops presentation, 11 a.m. is next. Another show which has got an incredible cast list, and I think you're going to be seeing a lot of push towards that show as we go towards once we come out of lockdown and once we get content back onto the screens, I think that's going to be a really cool show. I think it's going to be something to look at. So the quick comments, keep them coming in. It's your conversation. It's your show. Let's keep them coming. We've got ourselves a couple of comments that are coming in. I think the broke people are 50-50. Some of us had CCI in our budgets. I've got extra money. The conversation, which I've yet to see, about how comic book shops have done, which was a panel yesterday, which I want to rewatch. From what I've been hearing, the panel comic book shops have actually done particularly well. From online orders, from people coming into the stores once the lockdown started easing up, because there was this money that was available, and people have been saving up for what we were going to be doing, and people wanting content. So there's definite sides to that conversation. That's a whole other podcast on its own. Totally get that. This is the kind of thing that we're on about, and we talked about this yesterday. The Kevin Smith panel is on 17,000 views. The Fat Man and Scum and Villainy on Friday is at 48,000. That's a fixed audience. That is a dedicated audience, week in, week out. San Diego Comic Con, this is 1 week of the year, and it's getting people to come off that channel and go to Comic Con International to watch additional stuff. Kevin Smith, while he is a name and will get people's attention, and 17,000 views, nothing to be sniffed at the end of the day, it's his own dedicated channel, and it's a dedicated set audience. I don't think you can, it's apples and oranges on that one, just to let you know. Solicitor Smeg, I think it would have been smarter to keep exclusives only to badge holders Wednesday and Saturday, then Sunday opening up to the public, the way that people are still talking about you on Sunday. That's a bloody good idea. That's a bloody good idea. Using the members' IDs more. That could have been good. Integrating the people who bought tickets, bought badges. Yeah, I think that would have been that would have been nice. I liked that. Into the Blue Mister, missed yesterday's snow, but pleased to see Stan Sakai do well at the Eisners. Tell me about it. Best letterer. Best collected archival for Yazaki Yoyimbo, and also Hall of Fame result. That's not for me, though. That's not the one. I said it yesterday. Bill Watterson getting into the Hall of Fame. I was a happy bunny at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was a very happy bunny. There we go. Bunny and Snipe, the more I see Lower Decks, the worse it looks. Starfleet is obviously scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of enlistment. Every organisation's got a moron and a collection of idiots. At the end of the day, the Orville was all about that. It was about the kind of the plonkers of interstellar travel, and they seem to come out okay. I think it's going to be more like an animated version of... I think that's where it's possibly, for me, a little redundant, because it is going to be like an animated version of the Orville. But I get what you're saying. Whether it actually sits in the Star Trek canon, how it fits. But then again, let's open things up to other audiences. I personally have no problem with it. Sarita P, I watched Shadows and they gave hints on season 3. Absolutely. For those into the webcomic Cyanide and Happiness, coming out with a Steam game called Freak Apocalypse. Was this announced at CCI, the Comic Con? Let me know. Karma Savage, I hate paying for shipping. Yeah, absolutely. Worse for international. Shipping and international tax on top of the price. I had a look into getting the Patrick Ballesteros print, and when you know that you're going to be paying damn near half again to get that print to the UK, that hurts. I have bought a couple of exclusives. I bought a couple of Funkos. I bought a couple of the badges, the Con Rager badges. They're being shipped to mates in the US because it hurts. So there we go. Scott Angus, I would like 17,000 views. Wouldn't we all, sir? Wouldn't we all? Sarita P, a Facebook friend, thought that SDCC panels were interesting and now wants to go in person. This is why they do it. This is why they've done a virtual con. This is not just for us. It's to keep the conversation going and keep the convention relevant. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bunyan Snipe, he's definitely, he's got to be in his bonnet about Star Trek Lower Decks. I love Rick and Morty, but Star Trek is supposed to be about those big questions. Those characters and the way that behave shouldn't even be in Starfleet. You know what? This is why you come to Comic Con, and this is why I love you on the show, and I love your comments, and it's why I'm putting you up. At the end of the day, you're passionate about this stuff. You're not positive about it, but you're passionate about it, and that's what Comic Con's all about. Into the Blue Mist, it was an eye-opener to find that Bill Watson hadn't been inducted into the Hall of Fame until now. He should have been in there years ago. No arguments from me. The books I have around, I'm a Bill Watson aficionado. Yeah, he should have been in there. Then again, you do see some of the lines. You see some of the names that are inducted 2 years ago. Karen Berger and Dave Gibbons. I was blown away that they weren't inducted. Paul Levitz, when he was inducted, what the hell? Why wasn't he? Why isn't he? Then again, why people aren't talking about Paul Levitz more when it comes to comics generally, I don't know. Okay, Aaron Neighbours, the Grind Never Stops, not even during quarantine panel with artist friend Brian Timlin should be fun and informative. That's later on today. I'm going to get into the rest of the day in a second. Street to P, it's funny how CCI sold out on things, brought them and haven't sold out again. Apparently they are reproducing. There's some other, they're updating the production of some of the exclusives and the merchandise. More to come on that. Okay, more to come. Let's go into what's happening today. 12 p.m. The 100, always going to be a good draw. It's a bit of a captive audience. If you are a 100 fan, this is going to be for you. For everyone else, it's going to be something to skip over, but certainly the 100 fans will come out the woodwork for that. The craft of world building in comics, bringing this one up because everybody involved in it are world builders and a half. Kieran Gillen, Cy Spurrier, Stephanie Hans. It's just an incredible lineup of talent, and for a comics fan, I'm going to be there. That's going to be my second grade panel for the day. I'll come up to my number one in a second. Number one at 1 p.m. Kevin Eastman panel. That's going to be interesting. I hope he delves into a little bit more of his history because he has such a esteemed legacy in comics now. He's not the young boy on the block anymore. He's somebody who has got the history, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he talks about on that, considering we are looking at a new renaissance for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that was kind of brought in with the Batman books when they paired them up. But you've got some interesting new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle books coming out, and I'm guaranteeing he's going to be talking about that. Red Dwarfs for Promised Land, you've got the boys. Admittedly, you don't have a couple of key names. Danny John Jules. Okay. Admittedly, you have Danny John Jules on a panel and it becomes the Danny John Jules show. Trust me, I've experienced that firsthand and in person. But the guys they have got on, it's going to be cool. And if you have yet to catch up on the Promised Land, this is going to be something for you. Okay, 2 p.m. Probably the big panel for the day for many people. Conversation with Nathan Fillion. The man has charisma coming out of every pore. So he's definitely going to be someone to tune in and watch. I'll be there for that one. It's going to be 8 p.m. here in the UK. If not, hang on, 10 p.m. Here in the UK. So with a glass of wine, that could be a really cool conversation. 2 p.m. though, you've got a great LGBTQ comics and popular media for young people. Again, the talent pool on that particular panel, very much worthwhile checking out if you're into your comics. If anything, because it is a conversation that is very much at the fore today. The representation of those minorities in popular media. And we're going to see more of it, which is great. At 3 p.m, my panel, or should I say the panel I will be glued to. So at 11 p.m, my phone will be off. I will be watching this. This is the Art of Film and TV posters. Drew Struzan, Robert Rodriguez, Paul Schipper. Pretty much everyone on there is a legend when it comes to putting that first glimpse of a film out into the world, and it's the one that gets you in. There's a reason why you don't just get the trailer, you get the poster, and it is the one that gets your attention. The art of film and TV posters, I am absolutely there. I'm glued. So join me at 11 o'clock for that. I think that's going to be a really cool panel. Also at 3, though, there's Wakanda Forever, the psychology of Black Panther. The psychology panels have been really interesting. Though not necessarily ones I would have seen at Comic-Con in the past, but I have been enjoying the ones that we've had over the course of the last 3 days. So this one's going to be another addition to that. It's that sense of really breaking down and getting into the metrics of what Comic-Con can bring. It's not just going to be your big Hollywood flashy panels. It's really getting into the nitty-gritty of pop culture. That is what Comic-Con is about for me. 4 p.m. Ray Bradbury Goes to Hollywood. If you've not read the souvenir guide yet, it tears me up. I know that we've got Jackie Estrada, who's hopefully still watching. Jackie, can you please pass on the word? My God. If you can just let somebody know at CCI what they did with the souvenir guide is just a work of art. But yeah, the Ray Bradbury panels, that should be interesting. Hopefully lots of clips as well of the stuff that he's been involved in, because my word, he had a hell of a history when it comes to the adaptations of his books, but also what he actually did personally in terms of production. Composer Squares game show. If it's anything, it's a panel that will fill a little bit of the little void in my heart for the musical anatomy of a superhero panel, which should have been on Thursday morning to launch what would have been Indigo. But this is kind of like top and tailing, and fingers crossed it'll be something to fill that void. This is, for me, the lineup that we've seen. It is a Sunday lineup. The content that we are being presented with, it's what we would expect at Comic-Con on a Sunday. That's possibly something they could have switched around a little bit. At the end of the day, it's a virtual convention. You can have some of those big names. We could have had the Bill and Ted panel on today, and that would have been what everyone would have talked about all day. The traditional format of having the panels like they are gets people down onto the exhibition floor and buying the stuff from artists and vendors that need the sales, that need the attention. Hopefully, it's how we can get people's attention on that exhibition floor. Do check it out. Go to comic-con.org and go to the exhibition floor and zoom around and check out the retailers, because they need every support they can. So there we go. That's my thoughts on this. Like I say, all of this I'm going to really break down, and I'm going to be a little bit more critical tomorrow on my wrap-up show. Hopefully going to get a couple of guests involved. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. Back to our normal time frame tomorrow. So do join us for that. Let's have a look at this. Leanne D. That Crafter Will building is going to be incredible. You're right, absolutely right. I think just the people they've got involved on that panel is just insane. Bunny and Snipe, speaking of Dave Gibbons, I started playing Beyond the Steel Sky. Of course, he's very much behind the design of that particular game. It's got his DNA running all the way through it. Aaron Neighbours, Kevin Eastman panel should be fun. David Avalon will be on there too. It should be fun. I didn't know what the format of this panel is going to be. If anything, like the Robert Kirkman one, where he was literally talking to camera. But there's a couple of cool graphics in there. It was pretty cool. It was pretty good. Bunny and Snipe can't wait for Fillion. Who can? Some of his co-stars. Solicitor Smeg, the badge returns was probably so low they'll just switch to those promotional badges like for sweeps and charities and such. I think there's a conversation going on there. I think I'm kind of missing stuff. So there we go. Yes, indeed. The here in the UK we are having the unofficial blog. The UK attendees Zoom drinks party, kind of like our post-match meetup, which we would usually have on a Sunday. And it's going to happen around the time that Nathan Fillion's on. So whether anyone's going to stick around or bail on the meetup, who knows? Karma Savage definitely there for the movie poster panel. Bunny and Snipe, Ray Bradbury, absolutely. And let's have a look at this at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Is there going to be an announcement that the floor is closing? I've edited a little video and I'll be uploading that. The exhibition floor is now closing, but there we go. Right, Michael P's lineup next at 11, writing for TV at 1, writer's journey at 3. You can tell the man's focus. You can understand that. Yeah, it's going to be rather cool. But there we go. That's the lineup for the day. I'm going to get off and I'm going to let people get sorted for checking out their panels. Again, I was really curious to see about how people were enjoying them. Whether it was going to the YouTube channel, which was taking a long time to refresh. The best thing you had to do was actually go to the listings on Shed or go to the Comic-Con page to find the individual YouTube link, post them into your browser, hit refresh. They came live at the top of the hour, but the actual YouTube page really took its time to refresh. So to actually see the whole lineup took a bit of time to get your head around. Thankfully, I was doing my best to re-edit my page. Managed to get down to 3 minutes, re-embedding all the videos. So you could go onto my website and kind of do that. Yeah, it's going to be a fun day. Seriously, Leonard, get the cling film wrap covering your laptop before you start imbibing. I've got no alcohol left in the house. I can't. So it's going to be a bit of a dry one for me, unfortunately. But there we go. Right. That's me. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Tomorrow we are going to be doing our breakdown. We're going to get some guests involved to sit and talk to us about their thoughts. I'm going to be a damn sight more critical. I'm going to start breaking some stuff down because we need to kind of really have a look at how this has worked as an experiment, as a thought exercise, as things that could have been done better. It's going to be frustrating because at the end of the day, it's a one-off and we're not doing this again next year. Touch bloody wood. But let's talk about how things could have been prepared a little bit. Look, let's just talk about it tomorrow. Do join us, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. I think it's going to be an interesting show. Hopefully people will take it in the manner in which it's intended, which is it's not a complete breakdown, it's not a diss, it's constructive criticism. But there we go. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Got just a quick announcement as well. Talk about very quickly about something that I announced that I was going to be doing 2 weeks ago. I announced it ages ago that I was going to do a Englishman's Comic-Con. I was hoping that we were going to do a Zoom after party yesterday. The only downside to that was, unfortunately, here in the UK, the after party would have been between 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning. And also at 5 o'clock, I was taking my wife into work. At the end of the day, I have not slept. This has been a typical Comic-Con for me. I'm as tired as I would be in San Diego because I've been doing Comic-Con stuff and been watching the panels and enjoying the content and enjoying going around the exhibition floor. I've had no sleep. At the end of the day, I wasn't able to do the Zoom call. Just wasn't able to pull enough content together to make it interesting enough, I felt. I would have let the side down if I'd have done it. But there we go. Right, I'm going to finish on one last comment. And then I'm going to disappear and enjoy the day. Karen Session, we are not doing this next year. Let's say that let's have the content online. Let's have the virtual con. But for those of us with badges, let's meet up in San Diego, shall we? Sounds like a plan. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. 5 minutes time, we're going to dive in and we're going to enjoy the content. Yeah. Let's have a good Comic-Con. Day 4, Sunday, 26th of July, 2020. let's get in it and enjoy our day. Take care. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Hit notifications, especially for tomorrow's show. And we'll hopefully see you tomorrow for our post-match wrap-up of San Diego Comic-Con 2020. Catch you later.